let's get to know the man behind the camera.
If you're running a business and still dealing with clunky payments or high fees, you need to talk to Lewis Edmond with ExplorePay. He helps local businesses simplify payments, get paid faster, and keep more of what they earn. Whether it's in-store, online, or recurring billing, Lewis makes it seamless. Reach him directly at 803-722-8823 or lewis.edmond@explorepay.com. That's ExplorePay, smarter payments for growing businesses.
1, 2, 3, come on!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the My Father Said podcast, where we discuss all things faith, finance, and family. I'm your host, Ryan. I'm a father and a son.
And I'm Scott Fowler, your producer, and I'm also a son.
And we are doing a section of where we interview people who have started their own businesses. And we thought, who better to start it with than the guy who runs a business doing our podcast? So that's what we're going to get into today. So buckle up. All right. So Scott, we talked a little bit before we started. We wanted to learn just, where you came from, what made you get into the business, things of that nature. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and then where you were before you started doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I run a video production company based out of Lexington, South Carolina. Technically, it's based from home. Nice. And I've got several part-time I-9 employees who help me along as I go, whether I need a shooter or an editor. And I produce all kind of commercial content from businesses, whether it's podcasts, ads, all kinds of creative content that you might be looking for to support your business.
Okay. Because I know you do our podcast. I know you do other podcasts. I know you've done some pretty large commercials. And you've also done like some social media for clients, right?
Yes, absolutely. So what I tell people when when people come to me and talk about making a video, I say when you make one video, you're going to get a spike. Obviously, you're going to get a lot of interactions, a lot of views, and a lot of comments. Those are going to go away. So unless you're consistently producing content weekly, monthly, daily, you're just going to get that one spike. So if you want that social media interactions and that viewership and promotion of your brand, you got to continuously produce that content. And that's where I come in. And I've got, like you, I have several clients on retainer.
Yeah.
And some clients, for example, I've got a conference that I film for 1 week each year. And I produce 30 to 50 pieces of content to spread out through across 12 months to promo that out of 1 week. So we got a lot of different options. I work with physicians, attorneys, all kinds of small business owners, from one employee all the way to 1,500.
All right, let me ask you this before we get any further. Since you work with a lot of businesses, what has been the weirdest, most intriguing, or most uncommon business you've worked with?
Ryan, that's a great question. So one of the most interesting clients I've ever worked with is one of the 4th or 5th largest credit card processors in the United States.
Oh, wow.
They're the largest independently owned and founder-owned credit card processing company in the U.S. They're the only independent company that's not ever bought any other books from any other processing companies. And last year they did over $250 billion in credit card processing.
And that's one of your clients?
Yes.
That's wild.
That's the client that I go film their conference every year for about a week. I'm usually there for about 10 days. And then I produce enough content to cover 12 months for them to continuously promote that conference.
Yeah.
Out of basically 1 week of shooting.
Now, another thing, so we were talking about you're home based, but like you're like the only producer in the Midlands that'll like drive to clients and set up shop. I
wouldn't say I'm the only one for sure, but that's my specialty. That's one of the things that separates me from a lot of producers, and especially content creators out there. If you're going to work with a large video production company, usually you're going to come into their studio.
Sure.
And those studios cost $1 million. That's an inexpensive studio, in my opinion, these days. And there are several of those in town that are multi-million-dollar studios. So to reach that level of pricing, you've got to cover that overhead.
Sure.
For that studio. So what I do is I come to your business and I produce the content there because that's where your clients are going to be coming anyways.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, I say, what products or services are you looking to promote? And where did those happen? So I'm going to come to you and we're going to do those in those spaces.
Nice. And then we've talked about this before. You've gone as far as like Vegas and Puerto Rico for work.
Puerto Rico's in November. And then I've done the last 2 in Vegas, but I've done Yellowstone. Got to work for Nat and Geo TV. You can find that show called X-Ray Earth on Disney Plus. There's 3 episodes. So one's featured in Yellowstone, and then 2 are featured in the Pacific Northwest, so Seattle and Portland. I've also traveled all across the Midwest to film as far north as Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh my gosh.
With Mount Rushmore. And then all the way down to the West Texas Panhandle, looking at the border of Mexico. So, plus the obvious is LA, San Francisco, San Diego, New York, Miami, Atlanta, Charlotte, Greenville, Charleston. I travel a lot over the Southeast, especially lately. Most of my travel work has been for commercial realtors and commercial builders.
Huh.
That's a really popular. I don't do a whole lot of real estate or residential real estate. I'm happy to help any residentials out there, but I do a lot of commercial work for that.
Okay.
Commercial construction and commercial listings.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, so that is what you do now. And we didn't even get the name of your business. Will you tell us your name?
Oh, I'm the owner of Palmetto Moose Productions. PMP, baby.
PMP. How did you get that name?
I wanted to have a previous client of mine, and we still have a good relationship, is Palmetto State Armory, PSA. And so I really love the Palmetto part of that brand. And a friend of mine works high up in the company, and I was like, I really want to do a Palmetto Productions of some sort, and would they have a problem with it? He's like, absolutely not. You don't have anything to do with firearms.
Yeah.
He's like, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, Palmetto Moose. It's funny. There's no moose in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
They're not here.
Yeah.
But a nickname that I had a little bit in high school was Moose, and so that's where it came from, Palmetto Moose.
No
Productions.
kidding.
Yep.
I didn't even know the moose part.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right, so that's what you do now. Owner, founder, CEO, CFO of Palmetto Moose Productions. What did you do before you went out on your own and started this?
All right. Let's turn the flux capacitor on, crank up the DeLorean, and go back in time. I was a freshman at Dutch Fork High School, and I was already very into the internet, and I was a computer nerd, and I took my first computer science class, and it was HTML 1.0. I learned to build websites. Also in that time, I bought a VHS camcorder,
Nice.
a used one for about $100. I was working at Rush's.
Nice, yeah.
Yep, on Harbison, and I was saving my money, and I started making videos at that point in time, just with my friends. And then at Gateway Baptist Church, where I was a very active member in the youth group, and they got a Sony VX1000, and this is very inside baseball. That's one of the most beloved video camcorders ever.
Okay.
It was used for years and years. They're still worth a lot of money today. And it was a very popular camera, but it was very expensive at the time.
Sure.
It wasn't the most expensive, but it was a very high-level camera. So they had a Sony VX1000 and a very expensive editing computer. And I asked one of the youth pastors, they were making videos to play during the youth group. I said, hey, David Dedican, can I help you make a video? And he was like, no one else has asked that. I could use some help. And so that's when I learned to shoot and edit. We didn't even call it content back then. That wasn't a word yet. But I was making content for Gateway Baptist Church to play during youth and adult services.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so fun. I absolutely loved it. Fast forward to my senior year, I took broadcast journalism at Irmo High School, which was a 2-block class. So I drove from Dutch Fork to Irmo every other day, my senior year, to take broadcast journalism, and they had 10 Sony VX1000s.
Okay.
And 10 of these brand new things called MacBooks. The MacBook One.
Yeah.
It was the very first time with a mass-produced computer, especially a Mac, where you could take a video camera and plug it into your laptop and upload the footage. The first time.
No kidding.
And I just happened to come along that on its infancy. Before, you would have to put the tape into a machine and then run that machine connected to your desktop. Now you can do it mobile. And I was just very fortunate to be in a great place, in a great part of time in history, to start learning then.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
good. All right. And then after high school, went to USC. You did
Yes.
some journalism, right?
Yeah, started out at Midlands Tech, and then transferred to USC in the School of Journalism, and that's where I started learning more. I took more website classes, graphic design, and I learned that learning traditional art and graphic design and illustration applies so much to photography and videography. And it really helped me become a better artist. It feels weird to call myself an artist, but in the end, that's what it takes to get all this work done, is you have to think like an artist creatively. So learning color theory and, you know, all the things that you would want to write a paper on when you go inside of an art gallery that seem really boring, they apply to the things I do every day, and it's how I think now. And so those are the things that I learned at school. And then in journalism, on top of that, I was working for the Daily Gamecock as a photographer, shooting everything that was going on at the school. Like, I remember there was a guy who came and talked about biodiesel at the College of Engineering. And then obviously football games, baseball games, basketball games, men's and women's. Women's basketball had like 200 attendees at the time. Men's basketball maybe had 2,000 in the arena at the time. My favorite was women's tennis, because I was like the only person that showed up.
That's good.
So they let me on the court and talk to everybody, all the way from filming dance and nightlife that was going on at USC. So I really got super involved, just like I was very involved at Gateway Baptist Church. I always feel like I have the need to stay involved in the community that I'm in. And so I was just working full time as a photographer there. And so not only do I offer video services, I do also offer photography. I've been doing it professionally since 2009. And then I've been doing video professionally since 2011. So I graduated in December of 2010 from USC with my degree in visual communications from the School of Journalism. And I went to work for a nonprofit research organization as the in-house photo, video design guy.
Okay.
Also ended up doing some website and IT work as well. I was the only creative on site. And what was interesting about this job is it was the world's largest wind tunnel in Chester County, South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina.
Yeah, a little tiny town called Richburg, right outside of Lancaster, or Great Falls. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of those areas. Very rural. And at this nonprofit, as the only creative on site, I got on my interview, Fox National's broadcast truck was there. Not like your local Fox affiliate, Fox National. That's a special truck. I've never seen a truck like that before in person. I mean, like, to balance the satellite dish, the arms have to come out and like anchor itself onto the ground. And I remember asking the people who were interviewing, like my boss and the VP, is it like this every day? And they said, no, we have these press days, and this is one of them. And so I got to work over 8 years with Fox National, CNN, worked every year with NBC's The Today Show. A lot of Jim Cantori, for y'all Weather Channel folks out there, you know who he is. Worked with him a lot. And then Discovery, Bloomberg, Al Jazeera, crews from Germany, Italy, Japan, Australia, crews from all around the world, all the major, basically the major networks and TV channels. And I had only taken a few video classes as part of my VisCom degree. It was a very broad major: design, video, photo, websites. We even learned how to make DVDs back then. That's good. Make a DVD venue, code it. Okay, that's very useful today. But I went from doing all of those different things to growing with the company. So I kind of started managing some. And we hired a designer, we hired a website person, we hired an IT department. So then I really got to focus on photo and video. But the whole time I was there, I was still the only creative site. The rest of these were either remote or at our corporate office in Tampa. And so when these big crews would come down, I was in awe of them. And they would talk about things called sticks and stingers. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Sticks is a tripod, stingers is an extension cord. There's all these like code words. And I really wanted to understand. So I read books about it. I read books about video production. I read books about crews, and I learned to speak their language. And they all kind of adopted me every time they would come down, because I would hang out with them. I would take them out to lunch. If they would stay overnight, I would take them out to dinner. I would some nights that we would be hanging out till 10, maybe even 11 at night, eating a late dinner with the crew. And I would drive an hour. Now we're in Rock Hill, so I would drive an hour and a half back home.
Oh, wow.
Just to be at work when the crews were there. I was not even there at 8. I'd be there at 7 because they always wanted to show up early. And it was because I was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
It didn't faze me. I really loved it. And so fast forward to 2019, I leave the company, and immediately a director that I worked with from London 8 years prior
Oh, wow.
at the nonprofit said, "Hey, I see you're freelancing now. I want you to come work for this National Geographic TV show." And that was really like my start I had been freelancing the whole time I was at the lab.
Sure.
That was a really positive part of my job, is that I got to use that equipment to do freelancing all over the Southeast. And I had been wanting a reason to pull the plug, and then here it was. So I got to film 3 episodes of the show. We were planning on filming 3 to 6 more episodes of the show in the fall of 2020. And then it got cut. With many other shows, it got left on the cutting room floor. So that made me think I could have gotten a job creating content, producing, doing something in the creative digital marketing world, working for a marketing team remotely during that time. I was looking at the jobs, and I saw I had the qualifications, and I knew that I could get something. And I said, you know what, I really want to do this on my own.
Yeah.
I really, really want to do it. And I said, if I can make it through this COVID time where there's nothing to film, then I can make it through anything. And I started Instacarting and DoorDashing.
That's awesome.
And I only had to do it for about 6 or 7 months. And then I was already filming weddings before that. And then in 2021, we had a wedding boom because South Carolina was an early open state.
Yeah. Okay.
And we were very fortunate for that. And me as a content creator, a producer, was very fortunate that I was able to go film events right away. Just like that. And it was a point in time where a lot of people wanted to get married. A lot of people wanted to have events. So it just felt like the world was my oyster. I was so blessed. Yeah. And so I was able to work almost every weekend.
That's good.
In 2021. And then I joined BNI. And I slowly moved to commercial work, which is what I've been doing since the beginning. I still love weddings. I'm happy to do photo and video for your wedding. I got a full team on it, but we are kind of expensive.
Awesome. Yeah.
So just a heads up. I'd love to talk with you about it. Here we are today. Fast forward, 6 years later, 7 years later.
All right. So thank you for sharing all that. That was good. Let me ask you this. So I know that you said you were freelancing like before you fully left your job.
Yes.
So it wasn't like just like a hard stop working here, start my business. You were already doing some of that.
Most of what I was doing was pro bono or free work. I was making a little bit of money, but I was making, let's just say towards the end, I was making the most, and I probably made like $6,000-$7,000 that year. But to me, that was a lot of money on the side.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I'm really starting to make it. I remember the first job I got paid $800 for a video, and I was like, this is amazing.
This is the greatest thing ever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you decide, hey, I'm going to do this full time, as opposed to, hey, the one show I was working on, it got left on the cutting floor. I'll just wait until the next show. What made you say, you know what? No, I'm gonna go, head first into this.
Yeah. So cranking up the DeLorean again, going a little bit back in time. That whole crew was based out of London. I was the one American that they called.
Wow.
I was very fortunate and so blessed and thankful. So I knew that these people that I worked with that would have hired me again, they couldn't travel to the U.S. There was a travel ban
Sure.
for UK to here for a long time. And so I just knew that those relationships were going to go away. And like maybe they would call me again, but I doubt it. It was like when they came to America, I was going to be their guy.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I knew that probably wasn't going to happen. And I just said, I do not want to have a manager
Yeah.
or boss. I said, I want to be my own boss. And I had learned working at the nonprofit job, which was still a corporate job. I had a board of directors, a president, and a CEO. And as I grew at the company and the company grew, so did the red tape for the content. So that would be in the beginning, when I first started, we would need to send a video to Fox National. I'd be working directly with the CEO on the phone. Yeah. I mean, I was only 7 of us.
Yeah.
And there was maybe like 10 more at the corporate office. It was a small company.
Sure.
And I was the only creative. So she would say, okay, cut this, put text here. Cool. So we were able to get out content very quickly.
Okay.
And then as we grew with managers and directors and VPs and then a board, my content would have to go in front of all those people to go out. And so now a client can book me as the consultant, and my clients trust me. And obviously I love input, and people often have input. My clients are paying me to come produce something amazing for them and something that gets them business and leads and supports their brand. And that's exactly what it does. And it's proven time and time again. I can show you data and results on the content that I created, how it helps businesses. I have one business, Riley's Drugs, a local independent pharmacy that I've been producing content 3 times a week for 4 years now. We just celebrated our 4-year anniversary.
Okay.
And their videos were getting a couple likes a piece in the beginning, which is normal. And then it would get 10 and 20. And then the views, like 100 views on a video would be really good. Now, if a video has less than 1,000 views, I feel like it's not performing well. They've got pieces that do like 3,000-4,000 views, and that's 3 times a week. Wow. And if you look at the numbers compared to when they were doing nothing or very, very little, I mean, it's like a 1,000% increase. It almost doesn't even sound so impressive. Like, think about it as a 999% increase in interactions on social media.
That's wild.
The data is just really there, and I'm happy to speak to anyone on it. And I'd say in the last couple of years, that conversation usually doesn't even happen. People tend to trust me. They believe in my vision, and I'm just going to come in. I'm going to create the great content. I'll tell you, you got time for a funny story?
Yeah.
So I won't say the name of them or their business, but they're a very prominent business in Lexington, South Carolina. Okay. That does a whole lot of business for a whole lot of people all around Lexington and a lot of people on the lake as well. And I went to they hired me to create a video about their business. And as usual, it's the first video they've had made about this particular business. And I came in, I said, here's what we're going to do. I gave them an outline. As I said, I'm going to interview the owner. We're going to put you in the video. We're going to show what you're going to do. We're going to go follow your workers around. And then we're going to have a call to action at the end. Here's what we offer. Here's how amazing our products and services are. Here's how you can purchase them, all in 60 seconds. I went out and did it. And the client was telling his wife he was really worried because he felt I was too casual and laid back about the situation, because I did not know. I had no idea. I couldn't tell. He was apparently very anxious about this video not looking well or not performing well. And he's like, Scott was just so confident and casual. I really thought the video was going to be poor quality. Thought it was going to be
bad. Yeah, he didn't care. Yeah.
And then he sees it and he was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
That's good.
And it's because he wasn't used to working with me. And I'm really just so confident I can come in, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do a great job. We might end up we're going to, if I'm going to produce a video, we're going to end up talking more about your business and potentially your personal life and things that are going on than we are about creating the content, because I'm I've been doing this for so long and I've got so much experience. I know exactly what to do, and I'm going to help you along and guide you every step of the way.
Yeah.
And I have real imposter syndrome when I get these big jobs because of that, because these people put that exact same trust into me for 50 pieces as most people do for one. And it's hard for me to take a look at myself and step back and be like, you're still the same guy. It's the same thing. It's the same conversations. You're just doing it 50 times instead of one or two.
I'm glad you brought that up, the imposter syndrome. I have heard that a number of times, and that's like not something that like business owners broadcast, right? Hey, Mr. Client, I have imposter syndrome, but it's something that they'll share with the coaches or with other business owners and stuff. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like, no matter how far you go in your career, like there's still going to be some of that in there, right? So, okay, let me ask you this. So you started, first off, are you glad you started it, or do you regret starting a business?
Oh, I would never have it any other way.
That's awesome.
I'm so thankful for it.
What do you think was the scariest or hardest part when you made the decision to do this full-time on your own?
Yeah, absolutely. My income when I left in 2019 was about $55,000 a year. And I had saved up some money in preparation for maybe going freelance or just in general. I had a decent savings. And I made like less than $25,000 that next year.
Yeah.
So I left in January of 2019. So I had all of 2019 to work. And that year I made less than $25,000. And I learned I was already in a place where I could live off that income, and I knew it.
Sure.
I had set myself up with no debt except for my mortgage. That's how I've always been, talking about finance side. And so I knew, and I didn't have any PMI. I bought a great house in 2017. So I was in a great place, and I knew this. This is why I felt successful, a little bit successful in the beginning, but I was so scared about making the money.
Sure.
But I just learned to live frugally, and that there was, like, my Amazon spending was crazy, and I hadn't looked at it. I was spending hundreds a month. I was spending an extra couple $100 a month that just in my mind didn't exist on Amazon.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so there's just some things that I learned right away that I could cut out, and a lot more grocery shopping and things like that, and I was able to support myself. And then I thought, oh my gosh, my mental health, my income slammed down.
Yeah, sure.
My mental health skyrocketed.
That's awesome.
I was commuting 40 hours a month to Chester County. So all that went away.
Yeah.
It took me a couple weeks to really be like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this anymore.
This is so much better, yeah.
But I just felt so much better. And I knew that I was like, oh, this was really the best thing that's happened. Like, I was so thankful.
That's awesome. Yeah, the money is always the scary part. It's like the old phrase, the golden handcuffs, where you can't, like, it's like, I want to go do something else, but I can't because the money's too good. Right?
Yes, that's how it was at that job. And I also had 4 weeks of PTO, and I like to travel.
Yeah.
So I was really taking advantage of all of that. And I got to travel for work too. So,
all right, let me ask you this. What is something that you learned when you started the business that you didn't expect? So, like, obviously, your craft. You've done it a long time. Obviously, you're good at, like, handling your budget and time management because you're an adult and you're professional and you do this. But was there anything that when you started, you were like, I didn't know this was part of, like, owning a business, or just something that caught you off?
absolutely.
Okay.
Sales.
Go on. Tell us more, Scott.
Yeah, I told myself, my dad was in sales his whole life. And, he was a career guy selling pipe, valve, and fittings for 30 years. And he kind of enjoyed it, but so much that he didn't. He complained a lot about work. I did not want to be that guy. And I told myself, I'll never be in sales. I'll never do anything like that. I will not be like my dad. And here I am, and I'm selling my products and services.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm passionate about it. So it doesn't feel, I love it. I don't enjoy it. I had no idea that how important networking and sales was going to be. And sales is directly linked to networking.
So you started a business thinking that it's just going to be all work, and then all of a sudden there's this whole process of sales, networking, marketing, getting with people, and it's like, hey, you still got to do this.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, let me ask you this. If someone was on the fence about starting a job, knowing that they're going to have to leave, they're going to have to give up the golden handcuffs, what would you tell that person?
Oh, I would say you got to go for it. If you're really interested in being an entrepreneur, it is the most rewarding feeling. I don't have children. I think other than having children is what I would personally equate it to. It's really something that the only person involved in your success is you.
Yeah.
When you're starting out. Once you get
sink or swim.
Yeah, once you get employees, it's different. But in the beginning, it's only you. And so if you have the feeling, the desire, the drive to go and do that, you have to go today. Quit your job. Just don't think about it, because you've already been thinking about it so long.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so cliche, but just get the swoosh and do it, you know?
Yeah.
Look at that check mark and think about it. You're going to thank yourself. It's like, and you'll be so nostalgic for the times that you struggled as you become successful. And when you're going through your hardest times, when it comes down the road, you're going to think back at those hard times and you're going to miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a wild roller coaster that I wouldn't have any other way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Great. Well, thank you, man. I think we are getting ready to end the podcast, but before we do, the question we always ask that we've never got the chance to ask you, Scott, what was the single best piece of advice you ever got from your father?
The single best piece of advice I ever got from my dad was mise en place.
I don't know what that is.
I think it's French. But it means everything has its place.
Okay.
So you got to clean your tools. You got to put things back where they go. You got to stay organized. And as a small, like that applied to, my dad liked to work on cars and taught me a lot about cars.
Yeah.
And so mise en place, everything has its place. So you really got to just, and that applies so much to being an entrepreneur and a small business owner. If you're not organized, if you're not living and dying by your calendar and the things that are in your bag, and you become, like I had to become a minimalist, because as a videographer, you can get addicted to buying every piece of gear. It could come with any business. If you're a landscaper, you get addicted to buying every tool you could ever need. You got to figure out exactly what it is that you need and just start with that.
Yeah.
And everything needs to have its place. So all of a sudden, everything that's in your pockets, everything that's in your bags, everything that's coming with you to that job, it's only what you need and nothing more.
Yeah. That's good, man.
Thanks.
That's good. Well, cool. Well, Scott, thank you. Guys, this has been another episode of the My Father Said podcast. Again, this was Scott Fowler with Palmetto Moose Productions. If you want to hear more about his story, I'm sure he'll put his contact info in here.
PalmettoMoose.com. PalmettoMoose.com. Palmetto Moose Productions on Facebook and Instagram.
There you go.
Follow me on Facebook. Just look me up. Scott Fowler. I have a mutual friend with this guy right here.
He does. But yeah, if you've got any questions, you want to inquire about his services, please reach out to him. We cannot recommend him enough. He has done a wonderful job with this podcast. So with that, I'm Ryan.
I'm Scott.
And we will see you next time.
Peace.
1, 2, 3, come on!
The opinions voiced in this video are for general information only and are not specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. Securities offered through LPL Financial, number FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Good Life Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. The Tippleton Group and Good Life Advisors, LLC, are separate entities from LPL Financial. Biblically responsible investing and faith-driven investing have certain risks based on the fact that the criteria excludes securities of certain issuers for non-financial reasons, and therefore investors may forgo some market opportunities and the universe of investments available will be smaller.